This is why I would never date a woman with unresolved trauma. With these type of ladies, trauma isn't the issue. And when we talk about trauma, I'm not talking about your dog died in 8th grade, you got cut from your college sports team, you don't like the way your dad said you couldn't do something that you wanted to do. That's not the trauma I'm talking about. I'm talking about the trauma that can really change people's lives, right? From abusive relationships, right, with really bad breakups, or abusive relationships with their parents, substance abuse. There are many instances where we go through life and traumatic things happen to us. But the trauma isn't the problem. The traumatic thing that happens to us isn't the problem. And as real men, as chosen men, if you will, we understand that it's not the trauma that defines our lives, it's how we respond to them. We understand that we can't even afford to avoid solving any traumatic experience that we might go through. We can't afford it because we know what's at stake in our lives. We know what we're moving towards in our lives. So like I said in the start, dating a woman with trauma, the trauma isn't the problem. It's the avoidance. It's avoiding dealing with it. Pretending like it didn't happen, or pretending like they've already gotten over it. Pretending like it never really affected them. Those are the telltale signs of a woman that is avoiding dealing with their trauma. Us as men, a lot of times we don't get attention. Most men do. Most men do not get attention. Even though I wouldn't put myself in that category, I understand what most men go through. And because of that, and even though I'm not starved for female attention, it's still quite lonely out here for men, right? And because of that, we feel like we need some compassion from the world every so often just to be seen as human, right? And that compassion that we wish others would give to us in our times of struggle, that compassion that we wish others would give to us in our times of trauma. When a woman comes to us and we see that same person in them, we tend to extend that compassion we wish we had from others to them. The problem is that if you're dealing with a woman that is avoiding dealing with her problems, your compassion will become a self-sacrifice. You will begin to sacrifice yourself little by little by little by little in ways that maybe you haven't thought about in order to appear compassionate, in order to meet that need for compassion that we feel like the world is lacking. I'm going to tell you now that this isn't the type of self-sacrifice where you're honored for it. This is the type of self-sacrifice where you will be punished for it. You will be punished for her past. You will. Others in her past have cut her, but you will be the one that she bleeds on. Others in her past have betrayed her, but you will be the one that she will constantly distrust. Others in her past have been emotionally volatile, But you will be the one labeled as the aggressor, as the manipulator, as the narcissist. Not because of who you are, but because of what she's had to deal with in the past that she refuses to resolve in the present. There's no accountability with women like this. There's none. And that's a direct result of avoiding problems. Things as simple as a small standard, right? Let's say, or let me give you an example. I was dating a woman, and after some time, I decided I wanted to see how we lived together. I was stable on my own, as I am now, and I could afford to test this out. I had my own place, my own career, right? I had my own businesses. And so I moved her in. One of the rules I had while this was going on was that if I come home and you're home, you need to make sure that you greet me when I enter the house. Now, this particular lady, on multiple occasions, refused to do as such. And because of that, I had to address it. There was no accountability with this lady because she believed that whatever happened in her past, the control that she put herself under with her previous relationships, she convinced herself, because she had not dealt with it, that she was experiencing the same control in the present with something as simple as greeting somebody when they walk in. Do you understand now? Small actions, small things that require accountability now become magnified into enormous problems, potentially enormous problems. With no accountability, there's going to be a refusal to heal. You can't solve a problem unless you know the problem exists. Excuse me. They won't heal. You'll be walking on eggshells. There'll be no peace. There'll be emotional exhaustion. You'll feel emotionally exhausted. Walking on eggshells is one of the most emotionally exhausting things a person can do in a relationship. Every person should be able to speak their principles to the person that they're with openly, clearly. But instead, you're going to end up feeling like you have to shrink yourself in order to fit in your relationship. You might have had this goal, you might have had that goal, you might have been like, we're going here, we're going there, but now you feel like I need to shrink myself to either make sure she's okay, or shrink myself to make sure that there's no problems, or shrink myself to make sure that I can keep my head down long enough so that I can maintain peace. That is a self-sacrifice. You are sacrificing your soul for this person. And there's no reward for it. To this person you're dating, chaos will feel like passion, intensity. To them, intensity is what's gonna feel like connection. That's the opposite of peace. Okay. Now, this is something I see men do a lot, as far as being over compassionate, or rather, let's say trying to save women. We see men trying to do it a lot, trying to save women. But it's a trap. First of all, you need to get rid of that savior complex. You are not saving anybody. You're not Jesus Christ. You're not saving anybody. You need to save yourself first. Make sure you're saved. Make sure you're okay. And once you are, then just continue. Don't step back. Don't take back steps in order to appease somebody else. Don't start excusing disrespect to appease somebody else. Don't start excusing lack of standards. Let me give you an example. I was in a relationship when I was younger. And when I first got with this person, they were fairly fit, took care of themselves. Once I was with them, I got with them fairly quickly. This is when I was about late teens, early 20s. I didn't take the time to actually understand what this person, who this person was and what they've been through in life. So when they revealed to me some of the trauma that they had in their past, I believed it was my duty to be compassionate to them and to help them through it. It was a trap. What happened was, because I had that compassion, my standards began to erode day after day. The disrespect that this person would levy on me, would put on me, I would excuse it as, well, I guess somebody who had dealt with something like this would have to, that's an excuse. The standards I put on my partner in a relationship as far as what we eat, how we act, how active we have to be, I started to relax it. Oh, she doesn't have to really work out and be in shape. She has to get through this mental thing. That's an excuse. And you feel like it's love, but it's not. Love is real. Love isn't faking to get along. Your savior complex is gonna get your soul killed. Don't let her play you into being the guilty simp. Stand on your standards. And if the woman you're dealing with has unresolved trauma, let her know. You and I can work on this together, but only if you are accountable and responsible for the solutions to your own problems. And I will be there to help you every step of the way.